The Galactic Institute stood as a testament to interstellar collaboration, drawing together myriad species from across the cosmos. It was a place where young minds, like mine, gathered to learn, share experiences, and grow. As the lone human student, Maxwell, found myself both captivated and overwhelmed by the diverse alien cultures that surrounded me. Today marked my first day at the Institute, and I was eager to forge new friendships and delve into the mysteries of distant worlds. The expansive dining hall buzzed with activity as students of various species gathered for lunch. Exotic aromas filled the air, each dish more intriguing than the last. With a tray in hand, I navigated the bustling line, selecting a blend of familiar and unfamiliar foods. Spotting an empty seat at a table surrounded by a mix of students, I approached them with a friendly smile. "Mind if I join you?" I asked, greeted warmly by Ryler, a luminescent figure with softly glowing skin. "Not at all," Ryler replied. "You're the new human, Maxwell, right?" he continued. "That's right," I nodded, taking a seat. "Nice to meet you all." Introductions followed swiftly, and I quickly familiarized myself with my new companions. There was Alina, a Zorian with iridescent scales, Tehran, a Zirian with multifaceted eyes, and Alina and Baran, who looked remarkably human save for their distinct features. A slightly pointed ear here, emerald eyes there. "So, Maxwell," Alina began, "what sort of foods do humans typically enjoy?" "We have quite a variety," I replied, reaching into my bag. "In fact, I brought some cookies from Earth to share." I pulled out a container of homemade chocolate chip cookies, offering them around. The students eyed them curiously before each taking one. "These look interesting," Tehran remarked, inspecting his cookie. "What are they made of?" "Flour, sugar, butter, eggs, and chocolate chips," I explained. "They're quite popular back home." The students took tentative bites, and their reactions were immediate and varied. "This is delicious," Ryler exclaimed, his skin pulsing with approval. Alina nodded in agreement, her scales shimmering. "It's sweet and has a pleasant texture." However, I noticed Alina's reaction was different. Her cheeks flushed slightly, and she gazed at me intensely. "These cookies are amazing," she murmured softly, her eyes fixed on mine. "Glad you like them," I replied, feeling a bit uneasy under her gaze. As lunch continued, Alina's behavior grew increasingly peculiar. She leaned closer, her eyes holding a mix of curiosity and something else I couldn't quite pinpoint. "Maxwell," she whispered, "there's something about these cookies. They make me feel different." "Different how?" I asked cautiously, trying to keep the conversation light. "Warmer," she breathed, more attracted. Realization dawned on me, and I felt my face flush. Maybe it's just a strong reaction to the sugar," I managed to say, though deep down, I suspected there was more to it. I glanced around the table, hoping for a distraction, but my friends seemed oblivious to Alina's increasingly bold advances. "Hey, Maxwell," Ryler interjected, sensing my discomfort. "Why don't you tell us more about Earth? What other foods do you have?" Grateful for the diversion, I launched into a description of Earth's culinary diversity, steering the conversation away from Alina's unsettling behavior. "We have a wide range of foods from different cultures all over the world. Pizza, sushi, tacos, you name it." "Pizza sounds interesting," Alina said with a smile. "What's it like?" "It's a flatbread topped with tomato sauce, cheese, and various toppings like meats and vegetables," I explained. "It's baked in an oven until the cheese melts and the crust is crispy." "That sounds delicious," Tehran remarked, his multifaceted eyes sparkling with interest. "I'd love to try it sometime." As the conversation continued, I couldn't shake the feeling of Alina's gaze on me. Every now and then, she would interject with a question or comment, each one laced with a subtle flirtation that made me increasingly uncomfortable. "Maxwell," she continued, moving even closer, "what else do humans like to share?" Before I could respond, Ryler intervened smoothly. "Hey, Maxwell, why don't you tell us more about Earth? What other foods do you have?" Relieved, I shifted the topic back to Earth's culinary delights, hoping to distract both Alina and myself from the awkwardness. The lunch eventually ended, and Professor Zalix called for our attention. Thank you all for sharing your meals and stories, he said warmly. Let's take a short break before we continue with our afternoon sessions. The room buzzed with excitement as students chatted animatedly about the different flavors they had just experienced. I took the opportunity to stretch my legs and reflect on the fascinating reactions my food had elicited. As I stood by the drink station, Alina approached me again, her eyes still fixed on mine. "Maxwell, can we talk privately?" she asked, her voice low and inviting. I hesitated, unsure of what to do. Sure, I replied finally, but maybe after the break. We should probably get back to class soon. Please, she insisted, her hand gently touching my arm. It won't take long. Reluctantly, I nodded, and we found a quieter corner of the dining hall. What is it, Alina? Those cookies, she began, her voice trembling slightly. They've had a strong effect on me. I can't stop thinking about you. Alina, I think there might be some kind of chemical reaction happening, I said gently but firmly. Maybe we should talk to Professor Zalix about it. No, she replied quickly, shaking her head. I don't want to involve him. I feel so drawn to you. I took a step back, trying to put some distance between us. Maybe it's just a strong reaction to the sugar, I suggested weakly, though deep down, I knew there was more to it. The cookies must have triggered some kind of unexpected effect in you, I added, glancing around the table for some kind of distraction or help, but my friend seemed oblivious to Alina's increasingly bold advances. So, Maxwell, Ryler interjected, sensing my discomfort, why don't you tell us more about Earth? What other foods do you have? Grateful for the diversion, I launched into a description of Earth's culinary diversity, hoping to steer the conversation away from Alina's unsettling behavior. We have a wide range of foods from different cultures all over the world. Pizza, sushi, tacos, you name it. Pizza sounds interesting, Alina said with a smile. What's it like? It's a flatbread topped with tomato sauce, cheese, and various toppings like meats and vegetables, I explained. It's baked in an oven until the cheese melts and the crust is crispy. That sounds delicious, Tehran remarked, his multifaceted eyes sparkling with interest. I'd love to try it sometime. As the conversation continued, I couldn't shake the feeling of Alina's gaze on me. Every now and then, she would interject with a question or comment, each one laced with a subtle flirtation that made me increasingly uncomfortable. Maxwell, she continued, moving even closer, what else do humans like to share? Before I could respond, Ryler intervened smoothly. Hey, Maxwell, why don't you tell us more about Earth? What other foods do you have? Relieved, I shifted the topic back to Earth's culinary delights, hoping to distract both Alina and myself from the awkwardness. The lunch eventually ended, and Professor Zalix called for our attention. Thank you all for sharing your meals and stories, he said warmly. Let's take a short break before we continue with our afternoon sessions. The break provided a moment of respite, allowing me to gather my thoughts amidst the lingering unease caused by Alina's unusual behavior. As I sipped on a refreshment, I reflected on how to navigate this delicate situation without causing further discomfort. It was clear that the cookies had unexpectedly stirred something in Alina, and I needed to find a way to address it tactfully. Returning to the dining hall, I noticed Ryler and Alina engaged in a discussion nearby. They caught sight of me and waved me over, their expressions a mix of concern and curiosity. Maxwell, Ryler began as I approached, are you all right? You seemed a bit unsettled during lunch. I sighed softly, grateful for their concern. It's Alina, I admitted quietly, glancing around to ensure privacy. The cookies I brought from Earth seemed to have had a strong effect on her. She's been acting unusually. Alina nodded understandingly. I noticed something was off. Do you think it's a reaction specific to her species? Ryler furrowed his luminescent brow in thought. Valorians can be sensitive to certain chemicals, especially those found in sweet foods. It's possible the cookies acted as some sort of aphrodisiac for her. That's what I was afraid of, I murmured, running a hand through my hair. What should I do? Niara, who had joined the conversation, placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We'll figure this out together. For now, it might be best to keep your distance from Alina and avoid any more direct contact. I nodded gratefully, appreciating their support. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. As the day drew to a close, I couldn't shake the lingering unease about Alina's infatuation. The prospect of returning to class the next day with unresolved tension weighed heavily on my mind. With the support of my newfound friends, I hoped to find a solution that would restore normalcy to our interactions. The following morning dawned with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. I prepared myself for another day of classes at the Galactic Institute, determined to handle the situation with Alina delicately. The events of the previous day had left me wary, but I knew avoidance wasn't a sustainable solution in such a close-knit environment. Morning classes passed in a blur, as my thoughts frequently drifted back to Alina and the cookies. During a short break, I sought out Ryler and Niara again in the common area, hoping they might have new insights or ideas. "Hey, guys," I greeted them with a small smile as we gathered. "Any thoughts on how to deal with this whole Alina situation?" Ryler's luminescent skin flickered thoughtfully. "We were discussing it last night. We think the best course of action might be to find an antidote or something that can counteract the effects of the cookies." Niara nodded in agreement. "There are some herbal remedies known for neutralizing certain chemical reactions. We could try those." Relief washed over me at their proactive approach. "That sounds like a good plan," I replied, feeling a glimmer of hope. "Do you know where we can get these herbs?" Niara smiled reassuringly. "There's a botanical lab here at the Institute. I'm sure we can find what we need there." With renewed purpose, we made our way to the botanical lab. The room was filled with a variety of plants and herbs from across the galaxy, each possessing unique properties. Niara quickly set to work identifying the herbs we needed, while Ryler and I assisted in gathering the necessary supplies. As we worked, I couldn't help but feel grateful for my friends' unwavering support. The situation with Alina was uncomfortable, but their willingness to help made it more manageable. Once we had everything we needed, we returned to my quarters to prepare the antidote. "Okay, let's hope this works," I said, mixing the herbs into a small vial of water. "But how do we get her to take it without making things more awkward?" Ryler grinned mischievously. "Why not inject it into another cookie? She already likes them, so it might be the easiest way." "Good idea," I nodded, feeling a surge of optimism. Carefully, I injected the antidote into a cookie and wrapped it up. The challenging part would be convincing Alina to eat it. During lunch, I approached Alina with a smile. "Hey, Alina," I began casually. "I was thinking about yesterday. How about we spend some time together after classes?" Her eyes lit up, and she nodded eagerly. "I'd love that, Maxwell. We could meet in your quarters later this evening," I suggested, heart pounding with anticipation. This had to work. As the appointed time approached, I found myself outside Alina's quarters, the small package containing the cookie and antidote in hand. Taking a deep breath, I knocked on her door. "Maxwell." Alina greeted me warmly, inviting me inside. "Make yourself comfortable." "Thanks," I replied, trying to keep my nerves in check. "I brought a little treat for us." "A treat?" She raised an eyebrow playfully, her eyes lighting up as I handed her the cookie. "You know how to win a girl's heart," she teased, taking the cookie from me. I watched anxiously as she took a bite. "How do you feel?" I asked tentatively, my heart racing. She paused, chewing thoughtfully. "It's delicious, just like the others," she replied, though her tone seemed more relaxed. "Great," I said, trying to hide my relief. "I'm glad you like it." After a few moments, I noticed a subtle change in her demeanor. She seemed more at ease, the intense gaze she had been giving me softening. "Maxwell," she said quietly, "I don't know what's been happening to me, but I feel different now. Calmer." I smiled, relieved that the antidote was working. "Maybe it's just the comfort of familiar food," I suggested gently. She nodded, still looking a bit confused but definitely more relaxed. "Thank you for understanding and for being so patient with me." "No problem," I said, returning her smile. "Let's just take things one step at a time." As we returned to the dining hall the next day, Ryler and Niara joined me at the table. As we began eating, Alina approached us, looking much more composed than before. "Hey, Maxwell," she greeted me with a smile. "I just wanted to thank you for yesterday. I feel so much better now." "You're welcome, Alina," I replied sincerely. "I'm glad to see you're feeling better." As we continued our meal, Ryler couldn't help but chuckle. "So, Maxwell, any more Earth treats up your sleeve?" I laughed, shaking my head. "I think we've had enough excitement for a while. Maybe next time, I'll bring something a bit safer like, I don't know, celery sticks?" Niara grinned. "Probably a good idea, but when you do, we'll be ready. Just no more cookies, okay?" "Yeah," Ryler added with a smirk, "unless you want to see Alina climbing the walls again." Alina blushed, playfully punching Ryler's arm. "Hey, I wasn't that bad." The tension had eased, and I felt a sense of relief knowing that the plan had worked and Alina seemed to be returning to her normal self. With the support of my friends, I had managed to navigate a challenging situation delicately, preserving both Alina's dignity and our newfound camaraderie. As the days passed at the Galactic Institute, I continued to learn, grow, and forge connections with students from across the galaxy. The incident with Alina served as a reminder of the complexities and surprises that interstellar friendships could bring, but it also reinforced the importance of understanding, patience, and the willingness to seek solutions together. As the days unfolded at the Galactic Institute, I found myself settling into a rhythm of classes, study sessions, and shared meals with my diverse group of friends. The incident with Alina had brought us closer together, cementing a bond forged through understanding and mutual support. Despite the initial awkwardness, our interactions soon returned to a comfortable ease, marked by shared laughter and lively discussions about our respective cultures and worlds. In the weeks that followed, I delved deeper into my studies, immersing myself in the rich tapestry of interstellar history, science, and diplomacy that the Galactic Institute offered. Each day brought new challenges and discoveries, expanding my understanding of the universe and strengthening my resolve to make a meaningful contribution to interstellar cooperation. One afternoon, after a particularly engaging lecture on interspecies diplomacy, I found myself deep in conversation with Niara and Ryler in the Institute's common area. The topic of discussion veered towards our upcoming interspecies cultural exchange project, which tasked us with collaborating on a presentation that highlighted the cultural practices and traditions of our respective homeworlds. "Maxwell," Niara said thoughtfully, adjusting the multifaceted glasses that adorned her Xerian eyes, "have you decided what aspect of Earth's culture you want to showcase in our project?" I nodded, tapping my fingers lightly on the holographic display table. "I was thinking of focusing on music. Earth has a diverse array of musical genres, each reflecting the unique cultural tapestry of our planet." Ryler's luminescent skin pulsed softly as he leaned forward, his expression curious. "That sounds fascinating. What kind of instruments do humans use in their music?" I smiled, excited to share my world's cultural heritage with my friends. "We have everything from classical instruments like pianos and violins to modern ones like electric guitars and synthesizers. Music is a universal language that transcends species and worlds." As we continued our discussion, our conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Professor Vexa, a renowned expert in interspecies diplomacy. Her presence commanded attention as she greeted us warmly, her luminous eyes sparkling with intellectual curiosity. "Good afternoon, students," Professor Vexa began, her voice resonating with authority and warmth. "I trust your studies are progressing well?" We nodded eagerly, grateful for the opportunity to learn from one of the Institute's esteemed educators. "Yes, Professor," Niara replied respectfully. "We were just discussing our upcoming cultural exchange project." Professor Vex's eyes gleamed with interest. "Ah, the cultural exchange project. A wonderful opportunity to deepen your understanding of each other's cultures and foster meaningful connections. Remember, diplomacy begins with understanding." Her words resonated deeply with me as I reflected on my journey at the Galactic Institute. Beyond the academic pursuits and cultural explorations, I had come to appreciate the importance of empathy, communication, and mutual respect in forging bonds of friendship and cooperation across the cosmos. As the semester progressed, our project took shape, blending Earth's musical heritage with the vibrant traditions of Xerian and Lumian cultures. Through collaborative efforts and shared experiences, we crafted a presentation that celebrated our diversity while highlighting the common threads that connected us as interstellar citizens. On the day of our presentation, the auditorium buzzed with anticipation as students and faculty, gathered to witness the culmination of our efforts. Niara's intricate holographic displays illuminated the stage, showcasing images and sounds that transported our audience on a journey through Earth, Xerian, and Lumian cultural landscapes. I stood confidently beside Niara and Ryler, feeling a surge of pride as we shared our insights and perspectives with our peers. The music of Earth resonated through the auditorium, filling the air with melodies that bridged the gaps between our worlds and united us in appreciation of our shared humanity. As our presentation drew to a close, we were met with thunderous applause and enthusiastic praise from Professor Vexa and our fellow students. It was a moment of triumph, a testament to the power of collaboration and understanding in fostering interstellar harmony. In the aftermath of our successful project, I found myself reflecting on the lessons learned during my time at the Galactic Institute. Beyond the academic knowledge and cultural exchanges, I had discovered the true essence of unity and diversity, forged enduring friendships with beings from across the galaxy, and embraced my role as a bridge between worlds. As I looked towards the future, filled with limitless possibilities and new horizons to explore, I knew that my experiences at the Galactic Institute had prepared me to navigate the complexities of interstellar diplomacy with wisdom, empathy, and a steadfast commitment to building a brighter future for all. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and a mind filled with dreams of interstellar exploration, I embarked on the next chapter of my journey, ready to embrace the challenges and adventures that awaited me in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Thus concluded my time at the Galactic Institute, a chapter in my life that had forever shaped my perspective, expanded my horizons, and ignited a passion for interstellar cooperation that would guide me in the years to come.